This little projector right here is the Aurzen D1 Air. And this little projector sells for under $200. It has 280 ANSI lumens, Dolby audio, autofocus, and auto keystone. All of those features for that price. But is it any good? Well, if you'd like to go on the journey with me to find out if this projector is right for you, keep watching because you're watching Blue Collar Guy. Okay, we're back. So Aurzen sent me the D1 Air. Now, I've done a review of their projectors before, but this one is more powerful than the other one that I did a review on. Also has Netflix, Prime Video, and YouTube, that operating system built right in. And we're going to take a look at that, and we're going to see if something like this might be good for you to watch your movies, your football games, and all that other good stuff that we like to use these things for. The price is certainly right at under $200, that's for sure. So before we go any further, I need to let you know that this is not a sponsored video and I don't have any paid affiliate links with this company. So if you were to buy one of these, I don't get a commission. I don't want a commission. I also don't have any Patreon, no buy me a coffee. If you're new to Blue Collar Guy, all you have to do is watch the video to the end and that's it. If you're willing to put up with YouTube's commercials, I'm happy with that. So let's take this projector out of the box and see what you get in the box. So here is the D1 Air. Now it is Netflix, Prime Video, YouTube approved. It's got Dolby audio. This means that it has officially licensed apps. So if you want to know if this is an AOSP type of projector, it is not. This is probably a Google. More than likely, this is going to be a Google certified projector, but we're going to check that out once we get it up and running. We have hi-fi stereo system built into it. It requires, I think, about 90 some watts of power, so not a lot. And it's got real-time autofocus and keystone correction. So what does that mean? It means it adjusts continuously. It's not like adjustment then stop. It will automatically keep adjusting if, let's say, someone was to change the screen position or something like that. You don't have to go in and recalibrate it. It's just going to do it automatically. Now on this side here, it's the D1 Air. It just works. On the back side, we have all of the certifications. It tells us it runs on 3.25 amps, 94 watts, so I was pretty close on that. And it's made in China. It's got an HDMI input, so if you want to know if you can do that, you can. And we have Dolby audio, which is nice. And then we have the other logo on the back here. And we're going to get it out of the box and see what it looks like. And I've always noticed that Aurzen does a really good job packaging their projectors. I've never had problems getting them out or back in the boxes afterwards. And that is not me making that noise, that is the projector. And as you can see, I have never taken this out before. This is the first time. And we're going to have to cut something. So I'll just give this a little bit of a snip here. And we're going to get this off. And we've got some Q-tips. These are cleaning supplies, obviously. I'm just going to show them under a different light here so that they're not so washed out by the bright lights of the studio. Here, I'll take one out and show you that way. This is what these swabs look like. So that tells me that it might not be a sealed unit, but we don't know for sure. It could be a semi-sealed unit. I'll know on closer inspection. This is the remote control. This is going to be something that everybody's going to want to see for sure. That's not a bad looking remote. I'd say that's pretty good. Very simple, to the point, and it's app driven, obviously. You've got your 3 Netflix, YouTube, so it is certified for Netflix, YouTube, and Prime Video, which is nice. And we're going to take this out. Obviously this looks like a power cable, and it is a nice power cable, and look how it is constructed. So this is not one of those cheap little, you know, AC to DC type of power cables. This is a real heavy duty electrical appliance power cable. So and we're going to get this out here, and I'll just set that very gently over there. That there. Have some foam in here, and I got to move this. Okay, we also, by the looks of it, if you look here, I just want to zoom in, looks like some kind of a USB-C charging port. There is a QR code here for tutorial videos, so if you need a tutorial video, projector, image dark spots, remove cover, sticker. So there's some, obviously some troubleshooting guides on there. Here we go. Now we can read this a little easier. So fix dark spots on projector screen. Project white image, reveal dark spots, remove cover, blow sticker. Gently wipe both sides of LCD panel. Cleaning glass, that's what those swabs are for. So if you had spots on your screen, that's how you can do that. And I'm just going to remove this as well. And now we can get the projector. So this is what it looks like. Zoom out a bit. All right. And that's what it looks like. Okay. And then of course we have a cover here we remove. And this has to do with your autofocus and your auto keystone. On the bottom, you have a 1/4-20 thread, and that's where your power cable goes in. That's pretty slick because it's got a little groove right here. See the groove? And then of course you've got your charging there too. How about that? So it may run off USB-C power as long as it's higher wattage. So I'm not too sure. Maybe that's the way to power the device if you didn't want to power it with this particular cable. But I won't know until I look at the instructions. And it sits pretty firm. So I'm just going to go back to me. That's what it looks like. That's the back. That's the top. And there's the sides. And on the bottom, we have USB-C, and I'm looking for other points. Oh, there is a cover back here. I think this could be a cover. I think this is a power button, USB. Okay. So you remove the cover, because I was wondering where's the inputs, and you remove this. You can engage the power button, however, by clicking on the rubber. That's kind of a neat little trick, because if you take it off, the button is behind it. Then you've also got earbuds or ear headphones. You've got room for a flash drive, and then you've got your HDMI right there. Pretty cool. But if you didn't need any of that and you just want to use it as is, you got this nice little cover. Keeps the dirt out of all of those other inputs, which is nice. Now I'm looking to see if it's a sealed unit or a non-sealed unit. So we're going to go back down. So I noticed right here, and it's hard to see, but there is a cover here. and there is a filter in there. So this is what I refer to as a semi-sealed unit. Okay. And of course, the speaker is here. I can see the speaker right there. And it also looks like we have some ventilation. So I think the audio speaker is here, right at the bottom. But I do like the bass. The bass is really nice, and it sits firm. When I first, so I'm just going to go back to me. So when I first seen this, I thought it was going to be top heavy because it looks like it's going to be top heavy, but it isn't. When I put it down, it doesn't feel top heavy. It's not wobbly or anything like that. It'll just sit flat and it just goes. And I do like the form factor. It looks really slick, almost like a little spotlight. And I'm going to also let you know that the remote control does not come with batteries. A lot of companies are doing that now. It has to do with shipping and some countries, the way their postal services work. And you have to remember internationally and not the United States, because the United States, they don't have that much of an issue. But in Canada, some post offices won't accept things if there's batteries in there, because technically batteries can explode and they don't want that. So they want you to buy your batteries in another form factor and then put them in later. So there is an app that you can put on here. Okay. So there is an app from the Google Play Store. You can put it on here and it allows you to control the projector. It's also for your email support. We also have email support, and we also have customer service, Facebook, Instagram, because they do have a following. I think that maximum it's 120 inches. Ideally, I would really put it at 85 or 90 inches, somewhere in that area, because the larger the screen, the less bright it's going to be. So if you really wanted to have, let's say, a solid 80-inch where everything is more bright, then that's where I would put it. And that's usually what I say about these lower budget projectors, is keep it around 80-85 inches and you'll be more than happy with it. Now, the other thing I want to mention too is that this is a semi-sealed unit. And semi-sealed units are pretty good. So you have three different types of sealing on projectors. You have totally sealed, where you don't have to do any cleaning at all. They're cleaned from the factory really well. They're inspected, and then they're totally 100% hermetically sealed. You can't get in there. Nothing else can get in there. You just clean the outside, and that is it. But the problem with those projectors is that you also have more of a problem dealing with things like heat. How do you keep it cool so that you can run it for extended periods of time? That's the trick. So semi-sealed projectors have a filter system. This allows for better cooling. However, you can get some dust in there should the filter get clogged or something gets past the filter, but then you use the cotton swabs to clean it. I have never had an issue with a semi-sealed projector having specks of dust and things like that. I'm sure that it has happened to some people, but it's never happened with me. The filter usually does a really good job, and I've never had a problem with that. Now, the third type of projector is one that's not sealed at all. You have to clean these all the time. If you have any amount of dust in your room, or if you have particles of dust from outside that get inside, if you use it outside, you're going to have to literally take it apart and clean it and keep it clean yourself. And they can be kind of frustrating. Usually you see these projectors at Walmart. They usually sell for around $100. I think one of them is an RCA. My friend had an RCA projector and he was cleaning it all the time. Every week or 2 weeks he'd have to go in there and clean it and keep it clean that way. But these ones, you don't have to worry about that. It does have a filtration system, and it does a pretty good job at keeping the dust off any of the lenses and things like that. Now, the ones that are totally sealed, you have to remember that yes, they're totally sealed, but they're also a lot more money. You're looking at, $1,500, $2,000 for something like that. Now, this projector is also 280 ANSI lumens, which for me is plenty bright. So usually for me, when I'm watching a projector like this, it's in a dark room. The drapes are drawn, the room is dark. I have like a home theater style of environment where, you don't have a lot of lights on. You're not having windows open, drapes open, the sun's not coming in. You have a theater environment, much like the one when you go see the movies. It is dark. They don't let the light come in. They make sure that there's no light coming in the room. And that's where something like this really shines, because 280 ANSI lumens is plenty good for that type of room. But some people want to have a projector that projects in a bright way when you have the drapes open, or you have no drapes at all like this and the lights coming in. And then you also have lights on in the room, and they want it to behave more like an LED TV. Well, for that level of brightness, you're going to need something that has like 2000 or 2500 ANSI lumens. It's got to be really, really bright. And the problem with that is price. These things are expensive. They can be like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 because they have that level of power in them. So for me, I'm like, just put it in a dark room and save that rest of the money for yourself. I think that's a much better way to go, especially when, for me, a home theater environment is a dark environment. So for me, this isn't the kind of thing that I would use every day. This is for movie night. This is for sports night. This is for getting together with your friends and having some popcorn and some drinks and watching the big game, or watching a movie together and just having a good time. You're going to have a theater environment when you use something like this. So the next step is we're going to hook this up. I'm going to see how it performs, because for me, I want to see how the operating system works. And I also want to know if it's a Google certified operating system. I want to know if I can sideload it, things like that. I know that I can hook an external box up to it, so if I wanted to do that I could, but I want to know how the internal operating system behaves. And I do think that that's quite a good value, considering that you get everything for under $200. So let's hook this thing up, see how it does. Let's do some testing, and then we're going to come back here for my final thoughts. So this is what the user interface looks like. We have Netflix, YouTube, Prime Video, Yup TV. Those are subscriptions. You have some free channels here on Docubay. Just going to show you what this looks like. And it's got some documentaries which are free. I'm just going to play a little skit of one here real quick. Oh, hang on. Watch trailer.
The United States is the second biggest polluter on the planet.
And as you can see, we got good volume control.
Denial of climate change.
And you don't hear the fan when it's going.
On their right to pollute
if I push pause on it,
where Carlos lives at the age of...
That's the fan. The fan's pretty quiet, and I've got the camera right next to it. So I just want to get a little bit closer to the projector. And you can kind of hear it, but not that much. Now, don't mind the screen. There's some stuff in the top there. That's the screen, not the projector. If I hit home, then we have an app store. And there is no way to do any side loading, just so you know. We've got these ones, and that is it. You've got Plex, and you've also got Tubi. I was able to find out you can put Tubi on there through this this one here, and you can get the app assistant, and you can get these extra apps here. And I put Tubi on there. We have Facebook, and you can get these ones too. So if you wanted to know if you can get more apps in there, you can, but you can't get downloader. And I'm just going to go back to the home screen. And you can rent movies, and I've put on these ones just to see what it looks like. You can put Facebook on there, which is interesting. And you can put Disney Plus. But those are subscription-based movies. So if you want to have other types of streaming movies, then you're going to need to go in through the HDMI input, which isn't a big deal. However, it will be one more step that you will have to do. So that's what the user interface looks like. As you can see, the screen is fairly bright. It's fairly sharp. It's got autofocus. I'm going to go into some of the settings here. So there's your focus. And you can change that. You've also got, here's your menu, picture mode, brightness. So I can increase the brightness, the gamma, the color, temperature, all that good stuff in there. Saturation, custom, cinema, sport, and vivid. I like standard myself. Standard seems to be pretty good. There's high bright, so you can go high bright, go back to the main. This one's actually extra bright. So if you're going to push it right to 85 inches, then this might be the right setting. And you can go here, change your languages, picture mode, keystone, and this is the zoom. So you can increase and decrease the size of your picture. Autofocus and about. License info. And that's what it's got for license info. And it's Netflix certified by the looks of it. That's its key number. So that's what that looks like. Okay, so that's it for this part of the video, and we're going to go back and have my final thoughts on this projector. Okay, we're back. So I tested the Aurzen D1 Air, and I showed you the apps, and it doesn't look like it is a Google certified box. So I was wondering about that because I did not see the push to talk button on the remote control. But I had to make sure, so I went into it and I looked at the apps, and it does look like it is certified for Netflix, YouTube, and Prime Video. It has their licenses, but it is not a Google license box. So you are going to get the proper YouTube, the proper Netflix, that sort of thing. Now, I also noticed that you cannot do any side loading. In other words, when you go into their app store, you cannot get access to downloader, so that if you wanted to side load apps, you can't do that either. And that's probably in agreement with these guys right here. So they probably said, listen, if you're going to allow that, then you can't have our licenses. And I would imagine they made that deal with them. So I don't know for sure what happened, but that's just my guess. I'm just speculating, so I'm just guessing at that. Now, they could do a firmware update and allow downloader and things like that, so that is a possibility. Now, all is not lost if you are into the side loading thing. You can add an external streaming box to the projector, and then you can use your content that way. And that is a very easy thing to fix. So you just remove the back, you plug something in through the HDMI. So if you had, let's say, an ONN box and it was already fully loaded or something like that, you can do that and you can still get all your movies. So the rest of the projector is excellent. The build quality is really good. The noise level is not that loud at all. I showed you on the camera that, you know, it's got just a very slight humming noise to it. And once you've got audio going through there, it washes it right out. The brightness level was very impressive. The sharpness, I really like the autofocus, and the auto keystone was excellent too. So everything else on the projector was really good quality. So I really did enjoy that part of the projector. So the other thing I really liked was the zoom function. So if you need to get close into something, you can. If you want to make your screen bigger, you can. It was very user-friendly and functional in that respect. So as far as projector functions go, excellent. Had a lot of color controls. You could make it even brighter. You know, the 280 ANSI lumens there is a difference between 280 and 200. I believe the other one that I did a review on had 200, and that extra 80 does make a difference when it comes to if you've got any kind of ambient light going on at all. So it does help as far as brightness and sharpness, and I did notice that there was an improvement over the last projector that I did. Now, as far as price goes, you can't beat the price. You get all of this for under $200. And if you are just the person that does Netflix and YouTube, and I watch mostly YouTube myself, so, you know, you may just want to use it for that. If you want to watch other things, you can, like I said, you can plug in through the ports in the back. You can even put in a flash drive, and you can, you know, put in your movies that way as well. So would I recommend this projector? Yeah, actually, I really liked it. I like the form factor of it. I like the fact that you can tilt it down and it protects the lens. It makes it more compact, so when you're not using it, you can kind of tuck it away. It seems to me, like for me, it looks more wall mountable, more portable. It's got a much cleaner, more functional look. It's too bad that it doesn't have some extra, you know, a little more horsepower as far as the apps are concerned, but that's just a minor thing, and like I said, you going through the HDMI port, problem solved. It's got really good sound. The speaker on this one was actually, I think, better than on the D1R, the Roku one that I did before. So that's it for this video. I would really like to thank Aurzen for sending out the D1 Air. This was something that I didn't quite notice, and they said, hey, do you want to try this one? And I said, wasn't too sure. And then once I received it and took a closer look at it, I said, wow, this is something that's really unique. And it is very functional. It is a very solid unit. So take care, be safe at work, and I will see you at the next video.